So on HBO Max just last night, I watched this shoddy sci-fi film from 1976 called Logan's Run. And yeah, I've seen parts of this before. I had some idea what to expect. I never watched the whole thing through, and I can see why, because it's terrible. But before we get into it, I want to give a quick mention to my buddies over at calderalab.com, makers of the finest skincare that'll have you outrunning the Sandman. Use my promo code FRY15 to save 15% at checkout. Okay, so this is a film from 1976 that won an Oscar for visual effects. Yeah, a year before Star Wars did everything way better. There's really nothing particularly special about just kind of matte paintings and very obvious miniatures. You know, this utopia future of 23rd century, I think they said, but there is one catch with everybody living in civility. You can't go to age 30. Instead, you have to renew your life in the Carrousel, which of course is a euphemism for killed off these people. Not really anything brought up about resource strain, but they say there needs to be balance. And you don't run away. You could be reborn if you do the Carrousel thing. But some people are, not so inclined. For these runners, there are Sandmen, police guys, who one of them is Logan, played by Basil Exposition from the Austin Powers films. Now, I'd comment some on the performances here, but just everything is so robotic. This film looks archaic. It's 1976. It could say 1958 on here. You just about believe it. So Logan takes down this runner, and this is where direction also fails us here. He retrieves an Ankh symbol from him, and we never get a close-up of it, but we see him feed this to the computer. I'm like, where did he get this emblem? Like, this doesn't make any sense. We should have had a close-up shot to be like, hey, that's something the audience should look at. And the computer decides to send Logan on this quest to find these missing people who ran away, but it doesn't make any sense. It's like Logan's asking, well, surely they all couldn't have gotten away. There's this sanctuary these people are staying at. You're supposed to go find the sanctuary and destroy it. That's your mission. And in order to do this, your last day is going to be upon you. You're going to have to run. Your expiration date's coming up early. So Logan takes off with this gal he met, Jessica, who also seemed to be inclined to run. And really, despite the title being called Logan's Run, there's not a lot of give chase. I felt more like there was a pursuit going on in George Lucas's vastly superior THX 1138. But in tying Lucas's involvement to this, why don't we look at this Sandman costume? From this angle, does that look a little bit like Luke Skywalker in Return of the Jedi? Logan and Jessica, who by the way wears almost nothing the whole movie, bounce between weird situations. There's this love store where everything's in slow motion. It is so 60s psychedelic. I'd be remiss to mention Farrah Fawcett is in here too. Tiny role, slightly before she really took off with Charlie's Angels. One of Logan's Sandman buddies wants to hunt him down. This guy, Francis, he's the only guy in pursuit. Logan and Jessica go to the optimistic cultists. They get washed away in some water, meet a robot that wants to freeze them, but eventually they escape the whole apparatus. Find the world has been reclaimed by nature. There's just vines all over the place. It's really not too impressive, especially when they keep walking up the same steps for various locations around Washington, D.C. They meet an old man who has no real knowledge. Despite the diamonds indicating that their time's run out and it's not responsive anymore, this guy Francis gets the jump on him and they fight it out. They try to explain it to him and somehow he's killed in, cheesy fashion. With really nothing else left to do, Logan and Jessica take the old man back to the biospheres to try to tell everybody that, hey, the truth is you don't have to die at 30. You can become old and wrinkly, and look how cool wrinkles are. They get arrested. Logan shoots the computer, I guess, and now everything goes to pot and everybody just kind of walks out and greet the old man. I could not glean some kind of larger message from this. Usually it's like, okay, so there was this corruption, the system was against them, it lied about the catastrophic wasteland outside. But I'm quite certain there's nothing thought-provoking about Logan's Run, nor is any of the action particularly engaging. It's almost like an AI was requested to make a 70s sci-fi film, and it understood that with the PG parameters it could get away with plenty of nakedness anyway. I mean, like, look, Logan and Jessica, they're wet from all this water, but they go to the freezing area, and now they're cold. Hey, we better take our clothes off before we freeze in them. We put on this fur, and then a minute later put the clothes back on, making for a sequence that exists only to keep the audience awake. I give Logan's Run 1.5 out of 4 stars.
Thank you for watching my son's YouTube station. It's not for everyone, but he tries. Maybe if you bought some merch below, he'll eventually get good at the YouTubing.